There's another website that I haven't shown you much about because it's a little bit complicated. It's called Viaggia Treno, and it's a website that displays all of the live train action. On this website, you can click on any route, kind of like a highway, and it'll show you what trains are currently running and whether or not they're on time or delayed. What I use this site for is looking at regional trains and where they tend to stop at these quaint little towns in between the larger two towns. Now, this is where I can find some of the off-the-beaten-path cities for discovering quaint places to stop and have lunch. Because this website is designed for locals, it's broken down by the states in Italy. Since I'm going to be sticking to the northern half of Italy in my travels in and around Tuscany, here are the states that I'm going to be discovering. Now, looking at a close-up of this section of Italy, I can see a small town with the word Terme in it, and I know this means spa town. So let's see how to get to this town and whether or not it's worth a stop for lunch or even a visit to the spa. And then go into Google Maps and I type in Porretta Terme with transit mode and set for 8:30 in the morning on a Monday. This will give me an idea of what kind of trains it'll take to get there. Well, this is obviously a morning commuter's route because the only trains go straight to Bologna and then have to change trains to go south again to get to Porretta Terme. But if I advance the departure time to 10:40 in the morning, then the regional trains start to show up on the map and display the route and all of its stops along the way. It takes about an hour and 30 minutes to get to Porretta Terme, so it looks like an ideal place to stop and have lunch or even maybe spend the day at the spa. So I searched Google for Porretta Terme and found a website called wildaboutitaly.com, and they describe the city as a charming town, hot springs, and a scenic train journey. The Romans vacationed here, and later the Italian royalty came here for its healing waters. Today it's a lesser-known spa resort, but it's also known for its excellent starting point for its outdoor walking in the hills and the mountains that are nearby. The city is also known for being the starting point of the first railroad to cross the mountains in this area, and it was built back in 1864. There's a small church in town, and because I'll be visiting there in November, it'll probably be decorated up for the holidays. Italians do a manger scene called a presepe, where they hand make and design small and very detailed villages along with the manger scene. Hotel and Thermal Spa Helvetia is the main draw for this town. Day access for the thermal waters is around $42, and 3-hour access is only about $26. There's a restaurant in the hotel, but I think I'll be trying some of those mom-and-pop style restaurants in town. Finding where these regional trains make stops has proven to be just a little bit time-consuming, but from what I have found, it's led me to some fun ideas for some really cute places to visit. Looking again at the Viaggia Treno website, and finding a regional route in the state north of Tuscany called Emilia-Romagna, you can see that there's plenty of little small routes. So I searched the route from Bologna to Ferrara on a Monday morning. You can see that the regional train makes 6 stops before it gets to Ferrara, and I zoomed in on Google Maps and looked to see whether or not any of these cities have the feel of a historic, quaint town and not just a suburb of Bologna. Most were like park and ride stations, but I really didn't feel they had a quaint place to stop and explore and have lunch. Now, Ferrara looked like it could be a fun place to explore, so I'll check that out later. So zooming back out and looking at where the train track continues past Ferrara, you can see more small towns. And I did a quick scan and zoomed in and followed the track and saw something called Terme, Eugeni, Abano, Montegrotto, which is a stop near a popular spa town as well. So it takes about 2 hours to get there if I take a direct train from Florence and didn't stop in Ferrara. Albano Terme is a modern town filled with tons of 3, 4, and 5-star hotels, each with their own access to thermal waters and each have their own day spas. So it's just a handful of miles outside of Padua, and because it's filled with hotels, it looks like it'd be a great shopping and dining destination. Sticking with the theme of spa towns, sometimes I just sit with my iPad on Google Maps, set on transit mode, and zoom in and look for where the train stops in and around Tuscany in the northern half of Italy. I zoomed in on tracks that were going from Bologna to Parma, which I know is about an hour to 2-hour train travel. One isolated train route was just north of Parma, and it's another spa town called Salsomaggiore Terme. It's a small town that sits at the foot of the Alpine Mountains. Looks like it might be a fast direct train to Florence to Bologna, and then a slower regional train from Bologna to Salsomaggiore Terme, which takes about 2.5 hours. Now, this city has a host of festivals and things to do from April to October, but I'll be there in November, where I'm sure that I'll have a place to myself, maybe even some Christmas markets that are going to pop up. This is a smaller spa town, and it has many luxury hotels that also have spas, but there's one main thermal spa facility that's the draw for the city, and it's known as one of the most beautiful spas in Europe. So I did some digging, and it looks like it's closed for renovations. Not sure if it'll be closed by the time I get there in November, but we'll take a look. But all the other hotels have spas, so I'll probably stop by the town anyway, as it looks like it's quaint and worth walking around, find lunch, and maybe have a spa day. So I've shown you how I've happened to find 3 spa towns in northern Italy. Some are small and quaint, and some are chock full of hotels, each with their own access to thermal waters. But each of these are all within a reasonable train ride from Florence, so I think I'll have time for at least one of these in the 30 days that I'm in Florence.